This has been a very interesting topic that has just been in Reddit for a while. I like seeing this, you know. A lot of people took part in this because they really like this game and they want it to be good. I want it to be good, right? So when I first heard about the new set Titanfall loadouts, not being able to change them, only being able to customize them to a certain extent, like Titan kits and cosmetics, I was okay with it, I guess, you know. I like the idea. I was like, they're gonna try to make it like Overwatch, cool. He prefers the custom loadouts, and that's completely fine, you know. There's nothing wrong with that. Because he would have preferred something like Rainbow Six Siege, when you can choose your gadgets and you can choose your gun, but you still have like a set ability or a set playstyle, set stats. That's good. I mean, that's kind of how Titanfall 1 took it, where you have like set health and set dashes and set ability, but you have to customize every other part. But we all saw how that went. Now, here's my comment. You can read it if you want. I basically say that, you know, the state of right now of the game when playing attrition or capture the flag. In public matches, obviously, most people are running Atlas, Particle Wall, Cluster Missile with either a 40 mil or an arc cannon. Now, so that's a state right now. Now that's looking at it from someone who plays attrition and capture a flag on public matches almost exclusively. I very rarely go into pugs. I've never gone into competitive, even though I really enjoy watching it. I enjoy watching Best BO's videos, 8K's videos, and I think someone else posted competitive. Fro the Omen? Yeah, Fro the Omen posted competitive videos. Now, it's what here he says. I can't. As a guy that has never ran the famous particle or cluster missile arc capacitor loadout, I don't know if I believe you on that. Probably ran it once, maybe. Will occasionally play and do well in competitive PC LTS tournaments. This is where I realized my comment was wrong. Last Titan Standing plays much more differently than any other game. It's a unique game mode to Titanfall, and it's a good game mode, and I like it. It's just not my style. I haven't learned it. I haven't learned map control with Titans. I can do well on a one-on-one Titan to Titan, but I can't do on LTS. I just can't control map on my own. Last Titan Standing tournaments, I have seen them, and I do realize people run extremely different setups. And when I tried to play there, I saw people just shitting on me with railguns and quad rockets. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is happening, right? It should be just like a normal, you know. I'm able to take down a railgun fast. But no, it's very interesting, I gotta say. People come up with interesting loadouts in Last Titan Standing that it's not a normal loadout you would see, and they do well with it. And they're helpful to the team, and that's amazing, and I like that. And that's where I realized I was wrong. I was like, people need their custom loadouts. Yes, by doing locked loadouts, you do cater to capture the flags and attrition and hardpoint, you know, those normal game modes. But the game mode you gave birth to, basically, Last Titan Standing, you're shrugging them off. It's like you never paid attention to them. And I understand why you didn't pay. I forgot about Last Titan Standing when writing this comment. I was like, they use the same loadouts as me, right? That's how it should roll. If these Titans actually specialized in any significant way, which they are, all their loadouts were designed with the same ordnance, countermeasure, shield, damage, ultimate. Now, I hadn't seen this, but once you look into it, it kind of does make it weird, right? The Ronin class Titan, which is the Strider that we know of right now, he's got, for first off, the fucking, what's it called? The arc wave, I think, when he like launches his sword and an arc wave comes down and hits someone. The Scourge has like the firewall thing that goes in a straight line, and the Ion Titan has like the laser shot. You think about it, they're very similar. Now, they might be like elemental type damage, like the arc wave actually blinds enemies, the firewall burns enemies, and the laser shot, I don't know, just plain old damage. Countermeasure, this is where I have to differ from him, because the countermeasures are actually pretty different. The countermeasure for the, as he puts it, for the Scourge, is that thermite trap, where it explodes gas all over the place, and once you ignite it, it just becomes like a great ball of fire. I don't know how to call it. The Ronin has the phase dash, and the Ion has a laser tripwire, I think. Those to me are very different, and they play very differently, you know. For the Scourge, you gotta play tactically, you know, lead them into the trap and then set it on fire for you to do the most damage. The Ironclad, it's more of a ambush type ability. For the Iron Titan, I think it's more of a runaway ability, right? You run away, you set the tripwire, and they're gonna be encouraged to not go through that. And you could say the same for Scourge, but they do play a lot differently, to which a normal Titan, I don't think, would walk into the tripwire as easily. They will more be like, oh, okay, there's a tripwire, I'm gonna go the other way, leave you alone to do your business. And the Ronin has, I think, that plays something that plays completely different from all others, the phase dash. Yes, it can be useful like the other ones to run away, but you can use it offensively, very offensively too, you know. You got your sword core, you phase dash into it, activate it, boom. Right, well, at least I hope it works that way. I'm just speculating right now, because we haven't played the game. I think the countermeasures play very differently and give each one a certain character. Now the shield, I can't deny that. That's one of the things that really, I think they didn't go too creative, right? The Scourge has this flame shield, which is literally a shield. It just burns the projectiles coming your way. The Iron Titan has the Vortex shield, which catches projectiles and fires it back at the enemy once you let it go. And the Ronin has the sword block, which deflects bullets like instantly. It's like an amped Vortex shield from Titanfall 1. That's the moment when I realized, maybe they're not being too creative. And the damage ultimate, they all are based on damage. You know, the Ion, big laser out of his chest, Scourge, big firewall just launched at the enemy. And Ronin has just going apeshit with the sword. We don't know enough to scratch him, but I do like that people are saying they don't look different enough. You're getting me worried. And this encourages players to pick the Titan that will do the most damage in the least amount of time. That's what all these Titans were designed to do, pour on damage. Same goes, you know, maybe these 3 Titans are the ones that specialized on attack. Maybe the other 3 will be based on defense or pilot killing. We still don't know yet. And about everyone picks the thing that does more damage in the least amount of time doesn't happen the most often. People choose the gun that is easier to use without feeling cheap. You know, most people in Titanfall choose the R101C. It's easy to use and people won't call you out on it. When you use the EVA, people call you out on it. Smart pistol, you get called out on it. In the Titans, the weapon that does the most damage in the least amount of time is a quad rocket with rapid fire. That thing can melt down a Titan. The problem is that you get splash damage on yourself. When you use a railgun, immense amount of burst damage, but you have to get used to the travel time and the charge up time. So I recommend you go to this and read the comments that look interesting to you, just so you can get a feel on what people think. And my opinion on it, at first I was completely for it. I really hope the other 3 Titans bring something new to the table, and if they do, if they bring a certain new way to play, I think Last Titan Standing will be a different feeling from the original. Yes, people that love the original might be shied away from it, but it's gonna attract a whole new audience. It will feel like a hero shooter, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a good thing either. Titanfall's trying to go streamlined, and that's actually really good for them. We saw in the first game they took major risks, right? People weren't adapted to the wall running. People weren't adapting to the Titan fights. They took risks. They took things that people knew they knew people might not like, might not get comfortable with. And like they said in the interview, we didn't expect people to get that good at the game. People running that fast, it's hectic, it's chaotic. People learn the movement so well that it's difficult to track them. It's difficult for a new player to come on and do well enough for him to keep on playing. And I completely get where they're coming from. When I see a Gen 1 level 1 pilot come in, I'm like, I'm so sorry, you're just gonna get shit on. That's what they're trying to streamline. Make it easier for people to comprehend. Yes, you have to lower the skill ceiling of it, and people will get mad like we saw. That they don't get to do custom loadouts, that they don't get to run as fast. But if you want the game to succeed, to be more popular, to players to actually be in your lobbies, not only 700 worldwide at a time, you've got to streamline the game. You've got to make it streamlined, simple it down. Once you get the audience, you can go right ahead and make the skill ceiling shoot up. Because you've already got a bunch of players that this is a good game, I've learned to play it. Right now, I think this is a good decision because it'll draw more players in. And it's a bad decision for the players that still play this game that, like Blackhawk, have been playing Last Time Standing almost religiously. Blackhawk's actually a very good flag runner, but I think he prefers Last Time Standing. Was it a bad decision gameplay wise? Yes. Taking the choice from a player is always a bad decision. You make the player feel restricted, especially when each choice has very small changes. It makes them feel like, well, you get to choose between these titans, but they're essentially gonna play the same, except for one or two things. That makes you feel a bit restricted. And I think it's gonna be the same for this, you're gonna feel a bit restricted, yeah, I like Ronin's 2 dashes that he has, but I really don't like his ability set. I really don't like his weapon. I wish I could switch the weapon, because then it would cater to my playstyle, being fast, being agile, and dead on. But with Ronin, you have to get up close, and there's no other way to do it. If it's an open map, Ronin's basically fucked. There's no way he's gonna be able to close the gap, not even with phase dash. So, bad decision. You're restricting players. Maybe you're even scaring some away, like people say. This was a big push to some players to keep playing Titanfall 1, which I question how they're gonna do when the player base is already so small. But I think it was a good decision overall, because they're gonna draw in, like repeating myself, they're gonna draw in more players that liked Overwatch, players that liked hero shooters, and they're getting the idea like, yeah, hero shooters are cool, and when you tell them, hey, Titanfall's got some aspects of a hero shooter, they're gonna try it out, and if they like it, they're gonna stay. And that's good, because it grows the game, and that's what the game needs right now. It needs to grow. It needs to make a stable community that loves this game. I love this game, and I want it to do well, and I want it to be perfect, like anyone else. I want this game to be a great game, and grow, and be big, and now that I've read the comments, I'm not really too fond of the champion approach to taking. I'm actually a bit against it, and Blackhawk and Frozen Omen's comment was actually pretty small, but it did make me reflect upon my comment. When I wrote the first comment, I was for it. I was like, champion shooter, I'm gonna go with it. But after reading Blackhawks and Frozen Omens, I see where they're coming from, and I have to agree with them. They've got very good points. You shouldn't take out choice from the players. You should at least make the loadouts different. Make each ability play different. Make each Titan have a role, and if the roles of 2 Titans are the same, make him approach that role different, to make it feel like it caters to different playstyles. I guess that's my kind of grain of salt on this topic. I could go much more in depth because there's much more comments going like super in depth into this. You can't really blame Respawn for making their game more welcoming to new players, limiting like advanced players but welcoming new ones. So please leave your thoughts on this, on the Locked Titan loadouts, on the comments below. I want to hear what you have to say, what your opinions are, and maybe you'll convince me that a hero shooter was the best choice for skilled and unskilled players alike.